Welcome to the Rural Dispatch, the podcast delivering stories from rural America. I'm your host, Aly Behrens. Headquartered in rural Iowa, I help run a nationwide livestock transportation company, and I'm here to bring you stories from the people who help shape this industry and our rural communities. Whether you're a trucker, livestock producer, or rural entrepreneur, this show is for you. Each week, we explore the realities of rural business life, from the highways to the fields and everything in between. So buckle up and let's dive into today's episode.
Today we got Adam Prokash with us from Wisconsin. Are you up around the Appleton area?
Appleton and Green Bay.
Yep. So Adam comes down to Iowa, him and how many guys you bring with you?
4 other guys this
Four. So there's a total of 5 of them this year.
Wait, time out. How many dogs did you bring this year?
8.
They come down and go pheasant hunting every year. And I don't know how many years ago I got to meet Adam. When I was batching it, really just living, they used to stay at my house. And, we used to do bachelor things.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
Up until, the first year that we were dating, and then you kicked him out?
I don't know that I necessarily kicked him out. I think they were finally just like, oh, shit, I think this is the one.
Aly just outdrank all of us last night. We got to find somewhere else to stay because we can't do that again.
Yeah, Smoke found a keeper.
Oh.
I'll tell you a good story about first time we were here.
First time ever?
First time ever, yep.
Okay.
Yep, your dad was here. Your dad greeted us. You were on the road. And Jeff says, make yourselves at home, boys. We're like, all right, sounds good. So we come in the house, we're hanging out. Jeff comes in and he's like, hey, those freezers in the garage, they're full. You make sure you eat that. I'm like, Jeff, we're not eating out of the freezers. No, there's fresh steaks in there. You're going to need to eat those. So anyway, your dad was super, super awesome. So came into the next morning, he said, steak and eggs? No.
What he meant was, please cook me breakfast.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was typical Jeff.
Yep.
That was a Jeffy's deal.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I will, Dad always loved shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he just loved random.
Yeah. He was super good to us. You've been super good to us. Like, yeah.
I wonder, how many places do you think he found for you guys to go?
A bunch.
Hunt, too.
Yeah, a bunch. I mean, the one afternoon he says, hop in the truck, let's go for a ride. And, you can hunt that, and you can hunt that, and you can hunt that. And then, it's been awesome. So.
Well, Jeffy.
Yeah, he loved it.
Actually, today is Monday, December 1st. And today is Dad's 3-year anniversary from when he passed away.
Well, a little happy story on that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
How many years ago you think that was? Is that when you guys first started coming down? Or did you stay somewhere else before you stayed?
No, so Steve's been coming down a long time. But that was my first year. It had to be 12, 13 years ago. Something like that. The people in the community are awesome.
So once I kicked you out, I feel like you've bounced around to a couple different.
We did. We're on our 3rd place. We haven't been chased out of there yet. So
yeah, because that's a shop.
It's a shop. Yep, it is a good home for us for a week.
You had a good run here.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
All right, tell us a little bit of background. What year did you graduate?
2007.
Did you go to college?
I went to tech school for 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah, went to tech school for horticulture. Totally not relevant to anything that I do today.
Oh.
But when I graduated high school, it seemed to be the thing to do. So, and I did some horticulture stuff in high school, and that was the direction I thought my life was going to go. Started on my farm that I now own my senior year of high school.
Working? Okay.
As an employee, yep. Like, they literally just needed a guy, and I got a phone call one day, and I was that guy that showed up to go out to the farm. So I had very little farming experience prior to that.
How did you grow up? I mean,
in a suburb of Green Bay.
Just got into agriculture because you were
right. Were your
interested
parents, I mean, did you grow up in ag?
No, not at all. Like, I grew up in a suburb. Yep.
What'd your dad do?
Electrician.
Okay.
My mom worked for a large trucking company, and
we know a couple truckers.
Yep.
Is she looking to keep working?
Right. Was she dispatch?
She was hiring drivers.
Oh, well.
So I took a phone call one day that said, hey, we need a guy at the farm, and it was a good paying job. And I was like, well, that's cool. So I showed up with a pair of overalls and a pair of boots, and I'll never forget it. The alarm went off at 2:45. I had to be there for 3:30, and I woke up and I thought to myself, do I really want to do this?
Is this the job? Is this job worth it?
Yep. I literally, I was still living at my mom's house, and I was like, boy, I could go a lot of directions with my life. I went to work anyway. So, but it's been a great experience. So, but no, that's how I started at the farm.
Okay. When you started there, did that guy was that Veal Calves?
Yeah, those are Veal Calves. Yep. So my first group of calves, we took bull calves out of Florida, and because at the time it made sense. I mean, if you paid for the freight to bring them out of Florida, you could buy them for a little bit of nothing.
Pretty much you probably about got at that time, you probably about got the calf. You just paid for the freight.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to pay something, but it was minimal.
Minimal. I mean, $20 would be 20 to 40 would be my guess.
Right.
I mean, your freight was more expensive than the cattle darn near. So, I did chores before college and after college. I paid for school, and then I graduated from the tech school, and I could go get a job making less money than I was making at the farm, or I could stay at the farm. And I stayed at the farm, and I haven't left. My farm was owned by a Canadian company.
Oh.
And I fed calves for them for, let's call it 5 years. And they approached me. The veal market went really soft, and they said, hey, because my barn held about 1,800 calves at the time. And they said, listen, we're not going to run this at capacity. It's not efficient for us to do this. But if you wanted to rent a farm 200 to 400, we would help you do that. But we're not gonna run this facility at capacity. So at that time I went on my own and custom raised some veal calves for those guys, and started with 200, went to 400, went to 700, and then the veal industry went really soft. It wasn't profitable. So I had an opportunity to raise some grain-fed Holstein steers. And so I made the transition from veal calves to Holstein steers before this beef on dairy thing was a thing. I went that direction, and custom fed for actually a family out of this community that moved up by me. And did that for a pair of brothers, and we went from we ended up feeding about 700. And then at that time, the Canadian company that owned my barn said, well, why don't you run the farm on your own? So I started renting barns. I went back home and started putting calves in at home. A couple of years later, they came to me and said, hey, you should buy this. And I bought the farm.
I think we need to tell everybody about veal calves. I'll guarantee there's not very many of these listeners that know much about. What do you know about veal calves, Aly?
Not shit.
I mean, I don't know enough about them. Are they milk fed their whole life?
Yeah. So yes. So they're milk fed their whole life. We do introduce grain, and they are on a small amount of grain.
They do get just a little bit of grain.
Yeah. And so a lot of times it's corn, chopped straw, a little bit of a protein pellet, basically to keep them rumenting the way they should. So there was a time that we did not feed them any grain. When the veal industry started, a 200-pound veal calf was big. And then the meat packers were like, oh, we'd really like these at 3. And then they're like, oh, we'd like them at 4. And my last group of veal calves that I raised went out at like 550.
When did they become not a veal calf?
Yeah,
anymore?
well, everybody has this impression of oh, this little baby calf that you're eating. But I mean,
right.
we consistently raise them to 5 to 550. And, not that a 550-pound calf is a big calf, but it's a much different
animal than a 200
yeah,
pound.
Absolutely.
Oh
calf.
yeah, it's not your cute little bottle calf that you see at the petting zoo.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, I just I have memories of hauling veal calves growing up, and every memory I have seems to be in a snowstorm.
Oh, for
some
sure.
fucking
Oh, man,
reason.
for sure.
I kid you not. But for everybody, okay, veal calves, they came in as, let's just say, week-old calves.
Yep, 100. Let's call it 100-pound week-old calf.
100-pound week-old calf, and they would go in a stall.
Yep. So all veal calves at one time were raised on a tether or a chain or a collar, whatever we want to term it. But it was a tether.
Okay.
They were tied to a stall. And then early 2000s, let's just call it 2000 for easy math. All these barns switched over from stall barns to loose housing barns. So that was my first, like, getting my hands dirty on the farm, was all these, because there was veal farms everywhere in our community, everywhere.
Everywhere. I mean, that's just what you guys were.
Yeah, everywhere. I mean, every corner had a veal farm on it. So these guys were taking their stalls out and putting loose housing in that held anywhere from 4 to 12 calves. So we're starting these calves off a tether, transitioning them into loose housing, and generally feeding out of a trough, which they were still milk fed, but they were loose housed because the concept of keeping them tethered was just such negative PR that it was like, okay, let's house these things differently. And honestly, it was really good. So yeah, so we called them loose housing barns. We switched so many barns over in the early 2000s. I would have been,
I did not realize that.
Yeah, late middle school, early high school, we carried oak crates out like you wouldn't believe it. Like every summer, that's what we did.
But, I mean, I started trucking in 06, and we weren't hauling veal calves anymore in 06.
Right.
I mean, that was like at 06, that was a thing of the past.
Yeah. I wish I could remember the numbers in like mid-90s, how many calves were in the state. But it was like, I mean, you could climb on the roof of my barn and I could show you 10,000 calves.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, it was unreal. We had a local trucking company that hauled every single Sunday. We loaded Sunday night, early, Monday morning, late Sunday night for Monday kill. And they slept in my loading bay every single week, I mean,
yep.
they were just local guys. That's all they made.
What I remember about hauling veal calves is when they got out in the alleyway, I mean, they would just kick and jump and it's like they had scours nonstop.
Well, they're all milk fed.
Because it was all milk and stunk.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then in the winter, we always put straw down.
Yep.
For them. And I mean, if anybody knows what it's like scooping straw,
yep.
Just miserable.
Yeah.
Absolutely miserable. But I want to say something the old timers, and to this day, I never forget it, is something they had taught us is when a veal calf went down, they always gave it a beer.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hauling veal calves to New Jersey.
Yep.
The veal calves we always hauled around here always went to South Bend, Indiana. Where'd they go for you guys out of Wisconsin?
It all depended. I mean, we sent a ton down to Previmi in our last few years.
Is veal mostly an export?
So don't quote me on these numbers, but I remember a Canadian company that owned my barn. They said something like in Europe, let's say they consumed 15 pounds of veal per person per year. Canada was something like 6-7 pounds per person per year. And in the United States was less than a half pound per person per year. Now, don't quote me on those numbers, but it was like, it was such a small number.
Yep.
And maybe I'm not totally informed, but I know like the Jewish market was always really big on veal calves. We sent a lot of veal to New York, Chicago. We sent a lot down there.
Yep.
So,
okay. I mean, you don't see veal in the grocery store. You see it on like a fancy steakhouse menu, but not.
Yep.
Your average consumer is not buying it.
And that point of origin sticker made a big difference too. There's a lot of veal that's imported, or there was. I haven't stayed current on that market, but.
So do people still feed veal calves?
Last I heard, there was 400 in the state of Wisconsin.
That's it.
Now to give like
400
calves.
Okay.
Now to put that into perspective, like I would say there was like 60,000 in the mid-90s. Now, maybe that number's off. Maybe it was 50. But, I mean, like, that's the difference. I mean,
but I mean, even just in Carroll County, I think there used to be, somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000.
Right. Absolutely. There's veal barns. There was veal barns all over. And that's the same way in mine where I live is, I mean, they're all empty. They're storage sheds or whatever now. But, I mean, there was Southern Brown County. There was piles and piles and piles of barns. I mean, you couldn't go 4 miles without running across a veal barn. It's like hog barns down here.
Yeah. That's
that's a
exactly
good comparison.
exactly what it was.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, lots of them. I mean, it was a huge industry for one person to stay home, whether it was mom or dad, it all depended, and feed 100 to 400 calves. It made a really good living.
But, okay, so that goes back to a fat veal calf, say, started out at 200 pounds, and when they quit, say it was 500 pounds. That's no different than a fat beef animal. A fat one used to be 1,000 pounds, and now it's 1,500 pounds. Like, just as the ages go on, the animals keep getting bigger.
Yeah. I saw a hot barn report yesterday. There was a 2,570-pound Charlemagne bull that went through the ring. It's like, holy man. I mean, who's going to string them up? Yeah, that is sure changed. But yeah, the veal industry is, at least in our area, is no more. So I guess to give some people some info on the veal world is so a Holstein bull calf was what we fed, which was a byproduct of the dairy industry, right? Needed to breed the dairy cow, so she'd produce milk. Bull calves had little to no value. We would take that calf that had little value, and, Wisconsin are cheese makers, so we had a cheese plant on every corner that produces whey as a byproduct of the cheese industry. We fed that whey to the bull calf, made a product that had value, and sold it. So the veal industry really started as a way to get rid of the whey protein and to bring value to that bull calf. And it made sense. Well, now whey is in everything. If you go to the grocery store to try to find something that doesn't have whey in it, I mean, you can't buy a bag of potato chips that don't have whey in it. It's crazy.
Do you think that's why the veal market has went?
So a huge part of it is, all these protein supplements, all these protein shakes all have whey in it. So you went from a product that was literally a byproduct that they
were literally throwing it away.
Yeah, we dumped it on fields. Like literally it went onto fields. So there was liquid whey and then there's powdered whey. Well, this liquid whey came out of the cheese plants and it was a byproduct. They sold it to us, but it was inexpensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it made something that had value, which was the veal calf when it was finished. Now that is no more. I mean, you could buy a bag of milk replacer in the 90s for probably 20 or 25 bucks. A bag of milk replacer today is going to cost you 70 to 100. It could be more depending on what you're feeding. So that has absolutely changed.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty much you're feeding them something that didn't really have any value. I mean, you were paying for it, but very little.
Yeah.
You're paying very little for the animal itself.
Yep.
As a Holstein bull.
Yep.
You were feeding them whey that had little value.
It cost you a lot in your time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Essentially.
I remember it would have been 07, 08, let's say, the first $100 Holstein bull calf. Like that was a big deal. Like I remember, we had a little afternoon get together with the local veal guys, and a guy came in the barn. He's like, "Calves are $100. We're never gonna make any money." Blah. The world was coming to an end because a bull calf was $100.
Yep.
That is a far stretch from today's market.
Isn't that wild? That's what I always think about all the calves we sold this year. I'm thinking to myself, I used to give these things away.
Absolutely.
And tell somebody, if it's alive in 2 weeks, give me $100 bill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember guys calling with a set of twins. Hey, if you'll take these, bring me a case of beer, or just take them. And like you say, if they're alive in 2 weeks, bring me $50. I mean, that was a real thing. That is a long ways from where we are today. So,
well, and that just goes to show, like, not that long ago, you could get into the industry with a little bit of hard work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just the commitment to want to do it.
Yeah.
And anymore, I don't know what could you do out there that wouldn't cost you an arm and a leg to even get started?
Yeah, I mean, your cost of entry, if you did a group of 100, is absolutely a pile of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was the veal industry was a really good industry, local deal that, I mean, obviously it was, let's say you raised a group of 200 calves in the mid 90s. You had $30,000 tied up in them. $30,000 in the 90s was a lot of money, but today, if you did that same thing for some beef on dairy calves, you're going to have $300,000 tied up in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that has absolutely changed. So, yeah.
All right. So how have you handled the change?
So went from raising veal calves to grain-fed calves. Did that for two brothers for...
Hold on, do we get to tell your whole life story?
It depends.
I really don't want to skip out on my favorite part of your life.
The pig stuff?
Yeah.
We could talk about the pig stuff.
We won't get too in depth, but I would like to tell a little bit.
We could talk about the pig stuff. So the Holstein beef market got pretty soft, and I went from feeding 1,000 to 1,200 calves on feed to feeding 200 to 400. So it was like, all right, figure out how to make some money. So I retrofitted one of my calf barns to a pig barn and started selling feeder pigs. And it started off selling feeder pigs no different than anybody else sells them. I was selling to mom and pop that wanted, 4 to 8, 4 to 10, whatever it was in the backyard.
Wait, were you going just to the sale barn?
Yes.
Buying feeder pigs?
Yep, correct. Yep.
Bringing them to your barn, housing them.
Yep.
And then marketing them, a couple at a time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Like my very first group that I actually bought out of Carroll County. It was a group of 100. Brought them up to me as they were like 25, 30 pounders. They were light. And brought them up to 40s, 50s, spring of the year, green grass time, and sold them all in a weekend. And I was like, this is cool.
Like how to who or what?
Literally, Craigslist was a thing.
Okay.
Like this was pre-marketplace, pre-Facebook marketplace.
Pre-Facebook.
So literally put an ad on Craigslist on Friday and said, hey, I have 100 feeder pigs available, 50 pounds, and sold them all before Sunday night. And there is not pigs in our area like there is pigs here. And there's certainly not, you're not going to have a guy that deals with, Bob and Jane that want 2 for the backyard.
I mean, that takes a market, because if I were to see somebody have feeder pigs on sale or like on the marketplace right now, I'd go, who fucking cares?
Yeah. No, I mean,
take them to the sale barn, man.
Yeah. No, it still remains a solid market. Like people that want to raise their own protein, it still is absolutely. It still is.
You think? Oh, they did. They were raising them to butcher them
absolutely.
themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, this came back around during COVID. Remember when you were hauling all those pigs out?
Yeah, absolutely.
Out west, and like these guys we couldn't get rid of pigs.
Absolutely.
Here, and we were hauling them out there, and these guys would buy a pot load, throw them in the back of their pickup or the back of their van or whatever, and go and sell them.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember Smoke calling me. And he was like, could you move a pot load of fat hogs? And I'm like, oh boy. But they were like very inexpensive.
Yeah.
I mean, very inexpensive.
I mean, they were damn near giving them away.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think he threw $40 at me or something. And but yeah, it was literally all home butchering, knowing what you're eating. And that still remains a really good market. I mean, we can sell these little 2 to 10 packs to a ton of people that want to raise them in their backyard. And I think it's great. It's no different than the chicken thing. Yeah. I mean, nobody cared about raising their own eggs 10 years ago. That market has absolutely changed. So that spring of year sold, a couple hundred feeder pigs. It was awesome. Like thought I had a new business venture, and it was cool. So went to the sale barn on, let's call it like the 2nd of July. And there was more feeder pigs than a guy knew what to do with. So I filled my gooseneck, which I had a 24 by 7.5 that I could deck. So I don't remember how many I bought, a couple hundred that went on my trailer. And then I bought some more, let's say another 100. So I bought 300 pigs on, let's call it the early July. And the feeder pig market was done for the summer. Like everybody had their pigs. They were good. Mom and pop were not buying anymore for the backyard. So I'm like, well, I'm going to feed these things out because whatever, that's what I'm going to do. So I ended up having like 100 head of halves and wholes sold private into local butcher shops. So I'm like, this is cool. This
God damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like it wasn't overly difficult. Like I had always sold maybe 20, 25 every fall. So I had kind of a log of people that I could reach out to. And then they're like, oh, well, my brother and my sister and my aunt and my grandparents. They're like, all right, perfect. So I had about 100 penciled down. And I had this father-son show up at my farm. They responded to my Craigslist ad, and they're like, hey, do you have roasting pigs for sale? And I'm like, well, what's a roasting pig? And they're like, oh, we're looking for 100-pounder to roast. I'm like, yep, got lots of 100-pounders. Come on over. So they show up, a couple Hmong guys. And they're like, yeah, this is what we need. This is perfect, blah, blah, blah. Ends up picking one out, takes it home. They have their party. They roast this pig. He calls me the next weekend. Yeah, I need another one. Like, all right, cool. Next weekend calls again. Yep, I'm going to bring my brothers now too. Well, he comes with like 6 brothers. So they buy 6 of them this time. Like, this is cool, And we start kind of building a relationship. And he's like, you do this all the time? And I'm like, not sure. So
I mean, I'm not going to count it out.
Yeah.
Who's asking?
Yeah, not sure. So we're similar in age, and he spoke very good English because there's a language barrier there with the early generation that came out of Vietnam. A lot of these families came, late 60s, early 70s. So he came to me in the early fall and he was like, hey, my family, my dad's family, my mom's family, like we butcher for fall. And we would like, a bunch of pigs. We're going to come pick out pigs, take them home, butcher them. Like, sounds great. So Halloween weekend, I sold the remaining 200 pigs that I did not have sold. And I was like, all the Hmong families. And literally it was like all friends, cousins, aunts, uncles of this original guy that showed up on my farm. So then they're like, well, would you do this all the time? Like, I guess so. Yeah, so I did that for 3 years until the calf business really picked back up. But like it was super good. I built a relationship with a bunch of farrowing guys, and I could go pick up 50 or 100 at a time. I'd buy some out of the ring too. But if I knew I had going into fall, you're going to need to have a bunch on hand, and I'd call my farrowing guy, a couple of them, and say, hey, I'm going to come. I need 100 or 150 or whatever it might be. And then my consistent weekly stuff, I'd just go to the sale barn and buy what was there. And I could get decent numbers out of the sale barn. And you get, you kind of get into that world and you figure out that this guy over here farrows, 20 sows or whatever. And I was darn near buying everything out of his place and get connected with a couple more, and it just builds. And that was a super good thing. It was not a thing that I wanted to do the rest of my life, but it was a really good pivot point when the calf market was soft. So calf market picked back up, continued to feed calves. Then we went back to putting, I don't know, we must have had 1,200-ish on feed. Did that for quite a few years. And that brings me up to the last 2 years. So a couple of years ago, I was picking up my own farm direct calves to put on feed and raise them, Holstein feeders, beef on dairy feeders, some Jersey stuff too. And got an opportunity to put some calves in some Amish barns on the western side of the state, western Wisconsin. And so I started doing that, which allowed me to feed less at home and put some, so it made up the numbers difference. So started putting some calves in some Amish barns and really, really enjoy those community of people. In the English world, labor is a really big issue. And to have consistent, reliable help at my home farm was a constant issue. So I kind of broke into these Amish communities, and they don't have the same problems that we do. So they very much understand it's a 7-day-a-week job. They're committed to it.
It's not like they reached out to an ad online.
No.
So how do you get connected with an Amish? I mean, I'm assuming that is you found one.
Yep.
And then it just goes from there, really.
Literally snowballed.
I mean, I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
It just takes one guy.
Yes.
Get you in.
Yeah, so a really good friend of mine started selling milk replacer for the same company that owned my barn, that I bought my barn from. And a lot of his customers were Amish customers on the western side of the state. And he had a guy that was looking to raise some calves, real small numbers, but, it was a foot in the door. And foot in the door for both of us. He was a young guy, just married, needed a little bit of extra money to supplement his income. And I showed up with some calves and put them in his barn. And then, he starts telling his brothers and neighbors, and then you get the bishops involved, and they're like, hey, this is a thing, which it is absolutely a thing. Majority of our calves raised in Wisconsin now are raised in Amish barns. So I asked how many calves we have. In Wisconsin right now, about 20,000, feeding just the milk replacer that I feed and that I sell. And I would guess about 18,000 of that are in Amish barns.
So on top of feeding calves, you also sell
milk replacer and meds.
Milk replacer and meds.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I would call it more of like we oversee calf operations. Like, we're guys that show up and help with management, whether it is ventilation management, whether it is health, whether it is feed programs, we help with that. So I got the opportunity when I started bringing calves into the Amish communities. A friend of mine that was selling milk and meds for the same company that I do now said, listen, like, I need another guy. This is what you've done your whole life. Like, it's a super easy transition for you to start helping these communities out. So yeah, he literally gave me a list of 15 barns to go to and addresses, plugged them into my GPS. And that next week, I went out there and put on a salesman hat and a salesman shirt and went to work. So, and now fast forward 2 years later, I got calves in a little better than a dozen barns. And then we oversee about 20,000 head over there. So it's a lot of commuting. My first stop is at least 150 miles from home. So, I live on the eastern side of Wisconsin, and all these calves are in the western side of the state. So, we're anywhere from 150 to 250 miles. 300 miles would be a long.
So you haul them from east to west, or are they okay?
Both. So a lot of my calves come out of the eastern side of the state just because that's the network that I have. But I do get some calves out of the western side of the state because in 2 years' time, you build up relationships with people and farm direct calves and dairies on that side of the state. So yeah, I get calves on both sides of the state now. But yes, I do round up calves at least twice a week and haul them across the state.
Okay.
Then on a day or two a week, I do the milk and med side of things, which all intertwines, right? Because like I could go from one of my barns where I have my calves in to another cattle company barns that's literally in certain instances could be across the street. So it's all very intertwined. Obviously, we're in competition, but we also all kind of do our own direction, meaning I sell this way, they sell that way. It's been a very good relationship with all those guys.
This is a really good example of how relationship-based this industry is. It all comes down to your relationship that you've built with all of these different people.
For sure. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
It's crazy to think about.
Well, I feel like that's just like a conversation we were having just the other night. It's like you build relationships with different dispatchers.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you don't have a relationship with a dispatcher, it's not that you don't work with them, but you definitely don't trade as much work with them as you do with somebody that you.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's hard for people to bring help in also.
For sure.
Because it makes you nervous. It makes them nervous. Like, are they going to keep the same relationships?
Well, and that goes for any sales job, really.
Really,
I mean,
you're right.
Cattle, whether it's cattle buyers or your feed guy or
Oh, man.
whoever it is. I mean,
It is, because that's exactly right. We just had to find a different cattle buyer. Our cattle buyer retired, which is still to this day weird to me that we retire. I
didn't know they did that.
Well,
I still
but
say
time out on this. I think it's because nobody in this industry really truly retires because we have such genuine relationships. Like you just don't retire and never come back. I mean, I feel like you're still talking to that guy even though he's retired.
It's a huge pair of boots to fill. I mean, you could give him you could have his contact list. Say there's 300 people on it, and you have, let's just say he buys cows for Bob. You know, well, he knows that, but the new guy with the contact list doesn't even know where Bob is on the list. You know,
right?
Like there's a ton of tribal knowledge in that. You know,
there's so much. He sees Bob, but he's like, well, what's Bob buy?
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much in building new relationships. I mean, it comes in time, but it's not like you call them on the phone and then you don't have a relationship with that person.
Right.
I mean, it's an awkward relationship. I think we're a month and a half in, and it's still just call them. You're like, yep, we're in today.
Right.
Here's what we can give. And then we're off the phone.
Yeah.
It's not
right.
How's everybody doing?
Right.
We are strictly business.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. But that'll build, though.
And it will.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to start somewhere.
You're right. I mean, you don't start, that's just like anything. You don't start at the top.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, first day I showed up on that sales job, this Amishman's name was Sam. I pull into Sam's barn. He's like, who are you? I introduce myself and I say, hey, you know, I've raised a couple calves. I didn't like whip out my credentials here, but I've raised a couple calves. I don't know everything, but, you know, I know a thing or two, you know, and we're looking at some calves. He's having a couple issues. I made some recommendations. Like, I don't believe in that. Gotcha.
Tough crowd.
Yeah. I'm like, well, this works on my farm. And he's like, oh, you have a farm? Like, yep. Raise a couple calves. Huh. Yeah, I still don't believe in it. I'm like, boy, this could be a rough crowd, you know? But I tell you what, like, with the exception of just a few that didn't exactly open their arms for me, it's been a really good transition working with a lot of really good people. And now, I mean, I go out there and, I mean, they're excited to see us. They're excited to work with us. They don't have cell phones like we do, you know, but they'll go to the phone booth and call me on Friday just to talk markets a little bit. You know, because they you know, they're out of the loop. You know, I mean, they get they get a weekly paper, but a weekly paper in the cattle world is old news.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
super old news.
Things move a lot faster than they used
as
to.
shit's moving these days.
Right. Exactly.
Jesus.
Exactly. So,
I mean, we're talking
Although, imagine how happy they are when they don't know that your limit down every single
That's what
day.
I'm telling you.
yep.
I got a phone call today. He's like, see the board? I go, I'm telling you, stop looking.
Right.
Like, unless you need to, don't look. Because
Did it limit down today?
It'll just ruin your day.
Oh, we don't know. We didn't look.
I couldn't tell you.
Good.
Wasn't relevant to us.
I have no idea. I'm not.
I had a great day hunting today. It would totally ruin my
I wouldn't have no idea. We're not buying or
Yep.
selling, so
Yep.
it's
Yep.
really irrelevant
Yeah.
what it did to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. I'm going to go with that. I'm not even going to look tonight. That'll be good. I tell you what, in their world, it's so interesting. Like, they think about not knowing the weather report. Like, we have some wicked cold coming in Thursday night, right? Like, it's going to be negative 15.
you
know,
call them and tell them, or well, you can't.
I will. No, I will. 'Cause especially, you know, for the calves, you know, like, hey guys, have things buttoned up, be prepared, have extra bedding on hand, you know, because they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
You know, if we see a forecast in the summer where we had 7 days of rain coming, they don't even know. You know, they're planting their corn on Monday and it's going to rain the next 10 days and they don't have a clue.
That's hard to wrap your head around. Like,
Yes.
living that way.
Yeah. And their mentality is just like, it'll all be fine.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, will it?
But it is.
Their contentness and their willingness to just go with the flow
What is wrong with us is the question.
I don't know.
Is it because this world is turning so fast anymore and we all think we need to be somebody?
Yeah, maybe. I tell you what, I had a conversation with a guy, Amish man, and he raises calves for me. We're riding around in the pickup, sorting some calves. And he said, yep, just got back from a wedding this weekend. I said, oh, nice. And he said, yep, we went down to Iowa. I said, oh, very cool. And he's like, yeah, it's a really neat community. They could have tractors, steel-wheeled tractors. I'm like, oh, okay. And Joseph's this guy's name. And I said, well, what'd you think of the tractors? Oh, they were cool. I was like, so if your bishop today said, Joseph, you could go buy a tractor, would you go do it? Oh, gosh, no. Literally his exact words. Oh, gosh, no. And I said, I want to understand that. And he goes, I can do everything I need with my team of horses. That's how I grew up. That's what I know. I can do everything that I need to do with my team of horses.
I mean, change is hard even for the Amish. Look at this.
And I'm like, holy buckets. And I said, that is not the way, that's not the English program. Like, you got your first tractor. The next year you want a bigger tractor. And the year after that, you want a bigger tractor and a bigger and you're always chasing the bigger tractor. And he's like, well, couldn't you do the job with the first tractor? Yep. Mm-hmm. But their contentness is absolutely their most attractive trait.
How do you think you got to Iowa?
They hire a driver.
They hire a driver.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is pretty wild. So they're, I don't remember if it was a friend or a cousin, gets invited to this wedding in Iowa. They had the relationship. He had no idea whose wedding they were going to.
Oh.
But let's say I'm getting married and I invite you guys to my wedding. It would be totally normal for you guys to bring 2 or 3 other couples and show up at my wedding, even though they have no relationship with me. Like, oh, you just need somebody to travel with. And then
I like that, actually.
Yeah, it's wild. Wild.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I like meeting new people.
No, it's super cool for them. It's networking, you know, because they can't network like we can.
Well, no, they don't have Facebook.
Right, exactly. And they can't call or text or be like, yo, I'll be over there in a couple hours. Like, their communities are, if you can't get there by horse and buggy, you're hiring a driver. It's a very different world. So, but yeah, I mean, and what happens is, these 2-3 other couples come down and they're like, oh, Sam and Edna have 6 kids, 6 daughters. They're not married. And the Wagler boys in Wilton have 6 sons. They're not married. We should, have them meet up. And all of a sudden, like, the Wagler boys are moving down to Iowa. It's like, it's totally normal. It has opened my eyes to a different group of people that they're very much the same as we are and very much different.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is very much like a, if it's not broke, don't fix it mindset, which
100%.
We dog on the older generation all the time. Like, we need to change and we need to do this more efficiently and better. And like, maybe we do just need to be more content. But I mean, in our world, you're going to get left behind if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I was by one of my guys' raises for me. We had a group of 450 pounders that went out. They had been in there for 10, 15 weeks. So the bedding pack was 1.5 feet. Let's say it was 1.5 feet. And I said, and he was pitching this by hand, pitchfork and a wagon and his team of horses. And I said, Alvin, can you just hire a skid steer to come in here? And he's like, yep, everything outside of the roof, they could scoop up for me. They can't put it in my spreader, but they could scoop it out, put it in a pile. I'm like, okay, so they can't come under the roof? Nope. We got to do that by hand. Like, that's where the line in the sand is. That's just the way it is. And you have to respect the rules because at some point.
And they do not bend the rules either.
No. Mm-mm.
Rules are rules.
Rules are rules. It's incredible. Like, we'll show up, the Black River Falls community. We'll show up there and they're like, I had a guy the other day, for example, that says, hey, I want to know if my calves are leaving Friday. These were not my calves, different cattle company calves. So I called the owner of the cattle company and I said, hey, Sam's looking to know if his calves are leaving on Friday. Yep, they are. I said, okay, sounds good. I have my phone on speaker in his barn. Okay. He says, Sam, what time do you want to load? Sam won't answer. Sam will not talk on speakerphone.
On a cell phone.
On a cell phone. So I take it off a speaker. I ask Sam what time he wants to load. I pass the message to the owner of the cattle. And that's how we operate.
That is so interesting.
You would think like, okay, in the moment, Adam's here, he's got a phone.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like this is a 10-second job. We're going to make it.
And just a natural, somebody says something, you respond.
Yep.
And it's so ingrained that it's not.
Yeah.
I don't care. Good for them. Because I'm telling you, what world have we grown up in to think that we're not nobody unless we're somebody?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we sacrifice some of our morals and values for gains.
Absolutely.
You know, like I'll give you an example. These guys wanted a group of butcher hogs hauled. So I was hauling calves to the western side of the state anyway. No problem. I'll haul these things for you. They said, be here at 4:30 in the morning. So I show up at 4:15, right? I see the light on the table. The whole family's up eating breakfast, right? Now, if I showed up to your farm at 4:15, whether you're eating breakfast or not, you're coming out to unload the trailer. Nope. They're going to eat their breakfast as a family, and I will wait. That's the way it is. Like you show up, they eat at noon. The wife will have lunch ready at noon. If I show up on a farm to walk calves at noon, I am waiting till they're done eating lunch. That is just the way it is. And it's like, for me, I get a little frustrated with it because it's like, I just drove 4 hours to see you. And my time is valuable because that's the way I think.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, my time is valuable to eat lunch with my family.
Yeah, my family is valuable.
Yes.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
Which is probably the way it should be.
Yeah.
It is
I mean,
different
honestly,
priorities for sure.
100%.
Honestly, this is how I think that kids should be raised. There is no doubt that efficiency and whatever other
Gains.
processes that we have implemented to make our world turn, I mean, that has to be done. But if we could all raise our kids this way,
Yeah. They raise great humans.
I mean, I think the world would be a better place.
Yes. Well, you think we're not that far away from the way they live.
Mm-hmm.
My grandpa was born in 1912, right?
Mm-hmm.
He pulled ice out of the Bay of Green Bay with a team of horses or their ice box. That's my grandpa.
Yeah.
Like that is, it's me, my dad, my grandpa. They're pulling ice out of their ponds, out of their rivers for their ice box.
And now nobody even has a horse.
Right.
For work, anyways.
Right. Yeah. It's wild, and it's like, well, what's so wrong with their world? And it's interesting, like the wives, well, they'll all go barefoot, but the wives and the children will go barefoot most of summer. About as soon as the snow melts, they'll go barefoot. And, an English person has an interaction with an Amish person that's barefoot, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're so poor they can't afford shoes. Actually, they just like being barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly fine. It's
good for you.
It's all good.
It's called grounding.
Yeah, exactly. Like
get on Instagram. The rich people are walking around in their yards barefoot.
It's like it's wild. The men all, for the most part, have the same work boot. They're not worried if Adam wears a pair of Ariats or wears whatever. Pick the name brand. Don't care. They don't care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And it's like, well, the world could take a few of those lessons and the world would be a better place.
Well, and that's the thing. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
I think this goes back to a couple episodes ago where we talked about truckers dogging on local, like long haul truckers dogging on local truckers. And my comment in that episode was, it does not matter what you do. We need them all.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Every cashier.
Right.
We need
all of it.
Everybody.
Yeah, all of it.
Just like we need those guys, and they do not care. We should not care.
Right. Couldn't agree more.
Okay, I'm curious. What's their currency look like?
Cash.
Oh.
Just cash.
Yeah,
Straight cash.
So I mean, this is funny. So I had a young man that came to me, Benny's his name. He says, I want to raise calves for you. No problem, Benny. Sounds good. He's going to do 2 groups of 25. So I write him, let's call it a $500 paycheck every 14 days. Okay?
Okay.
So 9 months go by, and I notice none of Benny's checks have been cashed. He's 21-ish. Okay? Still lives at home. So I ran him his next paycheck. I said, Benny, have you cashed these yet? Nope. How come? Well, I don't have a checking account. You're 21 years old. He goes, well, yeah, but what do I need to buy? What do I need? So let's fast forward. Benny's raised for me 14, 15 months. Benny comes to me the other day. He says, I want to buy my own calves. I appreciate that. We'll never fault somebody for wanting to better themselves. I said, good for you, Benny. He says, you know what I've spent with my money? Nope. He goes, I buy batteries for my headlamp.
That's it.
That's it. Still eats dinner with his family every single day. Still lives at home. He's not married yet, so he still lives at home.
And they're pretty much raising what they need.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's not buying groceries.
Right. I had a guy tell me, because he's got 7 kids, so family of 9 total. He said he can feed them for about $50 a week. Wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
This is where everything went so wrong. Everybody wanted convenience.
Right.
Convenience is not cheap.
Yeah. We trade our time for a paycheck. We trade our time for so many things. They value their time and not their possessions, not what they have. There's a lot of them that have nice acreage, nice farms, nice horses. A fancy horse might be a big thing. But yeah, that's like, I had an Amish man tell me once when calf prices started getting crazy high, he goes, yep, we used to risk the horses. Now we risk the whole farm. But but like, it's the truth.
Yeah.
Their most valuable possessions are their team of horses, which is normally anywhere from 4 to 8 at a household, and their property in their home. A lot of the communities have been really open to, because like I have no Amish experience prior to the last 2 years.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm just like, I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Because this makes no sense in my world, so please help me understand. Majority of them are super, super good about it. Culturally, we're just different.
But pretty much everything you do there has to be at daylight.
Yeah. So it's crazy.
Oh.
So
you have to deliver and pick up calves.
Do you have a headlamp?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I carry, I bought this 8-pack of little LED lanterns off Amazon for when I back in yards. I know this sounds crazy, but you go out into these Amish communities, there's no yard lights.
Yeah.
You can't even tell where the farm is. It is black. So you back in, it's dark at 4:30. I can't get there before 4:30. I got to back in the dark. It is dark. There is no ambient light from anything.
That's crazy to think about. That is the things that you don't think about.
Absolutely.
That we totally take
Yes.
for granted.
Oh, hot water.
Yeah.
Yeah, hot water.
Running water.
Yes, absolutely. Turning the oven on, right? It's a wood or coal-fired oven. Smokeworks late. He wants to heat up his supper. Yeah, you better fire up the stove. It's not throw it in the microwave and you're eating 3 minutes later. That's not the way it works. Everything is naturally ventilated. All our veal barns are forced air ventilation, no different than the hog barns or turkey barns around here. Everything is naturally ventilated. So it's curtains and ridge vents. It's a different...
But it works.
It works. It works.
And it seems to be working okay.
Yeah, it works. Every barn, no matter how you build it, performs well or less well certain times of the year. No barn is perfect, and they're all different. You live on a ridge, it ventilates better or worse than a guy that lives in a valley. These are all things that we run into every single day. You think, they need something, right? Okay, I need electrolytes. My calves are scouring. I need electrolytes, right? We could run somewhere. We could run a Tractor Supply, right? Okay, we're in a pinch. Run a Tractor Supply or the co-op or the feed mill.
The gas station.
It's not available if they can't take the horse and buggy. I had a guy that raised for me last summer. He goes, hey, are you going into Wilton? Yeah, I'm going into town. He lives 6 miles out of town. Yep. He goes, can I ride with you? Sure, no problem. So he throws a cooler in the bed of the truck. I don't ask what he needed, whatever.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Whatever. It's cool. So throws the cooler in the back of the truck. He goes, can you stop at the gas station for me? Yep, no problem. Comes out with 2 gallons of ice cream. Throws them in the cooler. He's like, yeah, it'd be melted by the time I get home otherwise.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well.
He just wanted to have ice cream with dinner. That's all it was. But it's August. It's 80 degrees,
Yep.
So his ice cream would have been melted by the time he got home. So he was picking up ice cream so him and the kids and the wife could have ice cream for dinner.
At this point, I'm shocked they don't make.
They do. Yeah, they would. But you have to have ice, and a lot of their ice houses are out of ice by August. So think about that, right? We have our butcher day, say the wife and I raise 50 chickens, meat birds. We butcher those things in September. We have our chickens for the next 12 months. They're in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
No, they have 50 chickens and they butcher one a week because they don't have refrigeration. This is the way it is.
They don't have to worry about laying something out to thaw for supper. They literally have to worry about
butchering it and eating it.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait a second. That's a good point. What do they do for a fridge?
An ice house.
What does an ice house consist of?
Let's just say 8 by 8 by 8 foot tall, and it's half full of ice, and they'll cover it generally in sawdust or straw to help insulate. It's an insulated shed, and they'll put their perishables in there. It's actually a huge problem for our vaccines in cattle because our vaccines need to stay consistent, right? And it's not uncommon come August for a lot of these families to be out of ice. So now we're out of ice August, September, October, November, December. We'll see. Hopefully they're pulling ice December, January time. So we'll build relationships with English neighbors that have a refrigerator in the garage
that they can get to.
Yep. And luckily, a lot of these relationships are super good between each other, that a lot of the English folks are like, yep, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
not like, oh, I'll buy this freezer, but you have to run it from me.
Right. A lot of their phone booths, because they don't have phones, so a lot of their phone booths are look like a phone booth in the corner of somebody's yard. And it's a landline that comes from that house. And it is a phone booth in an English person's yard.
Okay. I've always wondered this.
Yep. Very common. So,
because you can't just go anywhere and use a phone anymore. Nowhere has a landline.
Right. Yeah. Some of them will have a phone booth in their yard. Depends on the community, or a phone in the barn. Mm-hmm. A phone will never go in the house, but they might have. Depends on the community. Depends on the rules. But I have one fellow that raises cats for me that can keep one in his shed. So I will call, leave a message, or he'll at least see that I called, and he'll call me at some point, generally after supper. Mm-hmm. Well, that's way convenient, But I had a cattle buyer call me last November the 15th that says, hey, I don't remember. Let's say it was 50 head of calves. You got a home for them? Yes. But I have no way to let my guy know that they're coming. Hopefully he's home. Hopefully the barn's ready. The calves are coming from 4 hours away. So an English guy, I'd call and be like, Smoke, calves will be there in 4 hours. Bed the barn. And you'd bed the barn and life is cool. Nope. Literally.
And it's not like it's a quick process for them either.
No, it's pitchfork and dragging the bale with a team of horses. But I tell you what, they are so used to it. I had a surplus of calves a couple Mondays ago. They showed up at midnight. Knock on the door. Wake these guys up. Barn is not fully bedded yet because they weren't expecting calves till Thursday. So I'm 4 days early. They were not upset. They did not bitch. Life was fine. They unloaded the trailer. Him and his wife came out, and she came out, and she's like, yep, we're getting to work. And they just did it. I showed up on Tuesday morning kind of expecting to get an ass chewing. Nope. Happy to have the calves. Happy to have the work. You're not going to get that in the English world. Not even a little.
Probably not.
Not even a little bit. Wild. I'll tell you a great Amish story. The other night, Thursday night, I delivered calves, middle of the night. I don't expect these guys to wake up in the middle of the night to help me unload the trailer. They got to wake up for chores in the morning. I'm up anyway. I'm happy to put the calves away.
Listen, you don't really need the help anyway, so there's no sense in inconveniencing yourself.
Yeah, they're doing chores 14 times a week. I am not. Yep. I lived that life. I understand that life. Getting up in the middle of the night sucks. So I will take care of it. But I back into the barn door, and on the barn door, there's a tag that says, pull string for service. It's a fishing line. So I pull the fishing line, which I look goes about 70 yards to this guy's bedroom window. And I'm like, okay. So Enos comes out of the house, and he goes, thanks for pulling the string. I said, what did it do? He goes, oh, I had a steel bucket on a chair next to my bed. You pulled the bucket over, so I woke up. It's 100% a true story. That's their world. Just a different world. And totally good with it. Came out, was happy to see me.
He knew if he didn't want to be bothered, he didn't have to do that.
I know. Just incredible. And everything is a convenience. I pull into this farm store a couple Thursdays ago in my truck and trailer. I needed to buy some stuff for my guys. I go to load my truck. My trailer's empty. Also, my trailer's banging around. I'm like, what is in my trailer? And Jonas goes, oh, I just put my filly in there. Why? And he's like, well, I know you got to head east out of town. You can drop it off at so-and-so's.
Well, yeah,
well,
I
I guess
can.
I can, but like, for them, that's like a full day's thing.
Yeah.
It was 10 miles down the road and they're like, well, you're heading east anyway, which is true. I mean, took
that's a minor inconvenience, really.
It took 2 minutes out of my day. Who cares? But like, you would never do that to English guy to English guy. You'd never, not even ask. Just, no, it's cool.
Oh, yeah, hey, it's already loaded. Just go ahead and drop that off down the road.
Yeah.
But for us, that's completely different, though, because for us, everybody's got their own equipment.
Well,
and
we're so tied up in our own time.
Yep.
Like, I would never take Smoke's time away from him without asking. That's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
But in their world, like, I had cattle that ran through the fence the other day. The neighbors ran over to help because it's the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I would know you're not going to say no, but it would be one of them deals where I'd be like, hey, do you mind?
Right. 100%. You have to,
I know you're not going to say,
right.
No, fuck no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. But in their world, it's like, well, Adam's heading east anyway. It's just like, no big deal. Which it really wasn't a big deal. It's just totally different mentality, different mindset. There's a lot of things you could take away from them that are attractive. As long as you want to live without power, without lights, without refrigeration.
Right.
And drive a horse and buggy.
Well, and we think that's extreme, but it's also extreme how far we've
It was only 120.
fallen.
It was only 120 years ago.
There is a lot. Yeah.
Think about it, right?
I am. Seems like a while ago to me.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe not to you guys, but
Well,
I think that seems like a while ago.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, even my grandma tells the story, like, their first house, they had an outhouse. Can you imagine?
Man, I'll tell you what, a couple weeks ago, I called check on a new skid loader, and he's like, yep, I got this one coming in. And he said, it's got the side cameras, and it's got this.
They have cameras on skid loaders now?
And it's got that, and I'm like, and then he tells me the price. I go, okay, can I call you back?
Yeah. I bought my first house for that.
So, I called him back, and I go, do you have a skid loader coming that just has heat?
Right.
Like, I don't need the rest of that shit with the sensors. I said, do you have a skid loader coming? I just want a cap. I don't need the rest of that shit.
Right.
And he goes, no, I don't even know if you could get one like that anymore. He goes, that's like buying a car without power windows.
Right. Well, seriously, though, think about it. Like, I want to buy a truck to hook up to my gooseneck. So I want to buy, my perfect truck would be a standard cab, long box, standard. Good enough. Crank windows and a radio. AC would be great, right? That's what I want. A radio, AC, heat, and crank windows. Standard transmission. Can't be bought.
Nope.
Cannot.
I don't even know.
Do
you think you could even order it?
No, I don't. I don't know. I'm not in the loop on this stuff, but I don't know anybody that makes a standard anymore. And I don't know anybody that doesn't have power windows. Maybe I'm way wrong. Maybe somebody does, but
not around here. They don't.
Right. Yeah.
It's not by choice either.
Right. Like, I don't need.
Like, we still got the plastic mat.
Right.
And I think that's like,
yeah,
you have to order it.
Yeah.
That like, hey, give us the rubber floor.
Yeah.
Even when ordering a semi, that's not a default option. Like, carpet is default. You have to order it with the rubber.
A buddy of mine had like a 2001 Chevrolet with a rubber floor. We could spray it out.
Yeah.
Like, that was awesome.
That's the shit I'm talking about.
That was awesome. Man. Like, literally for a work truck, like, this is my work truck. I'm not taking the wife to church, not taking the wife to dinner. This is my work truck. I'm rounding up cattle, delivering cattle. I'm using it for a work truck. I just want to spray it out.
Hey, listen, start making minivans that you can spray out. I guarantee people would buy them.
Dude.
Kids are worse than livestock,
no
I think.
Oh, God, kids are.
No doubt. They're wonderful, though, aren't they?
Oh, they're a blast, man.
Because when we met, we were pre-wives, pre-children. We showed up here. It was a bachelor.
We were living, baby.
Livin. It was like Bush Light and heaters,
It was definitely Bush Light and heaters.
I got a 7-year-old now. And, they listen to everything. And, we don't have a farming family, meaning, my in-laws, my family, but Miranda does everything with me. Like, she'll roll out to Amish land with me. She loves it. loves hauling calves, just like embraces it all. So Thanksgiving dinner, I buy her a few goats every year just to eat a couple pastures at home. She loves goats.
Okay.
Her and my wife, right?
Fair enough.
So the goats disappeared this year. They're gone. No idea where they went.
Oh,
They're
no.
gone. Don't know if they ran away. Don't know if somebody stole them. Doesn't matter. They're gone. It is what it is. So mother-in-law at Thanksgiving asks Miranda how the goats are. Well, they ran away, Grandma. Oh, really? Yep. Well, where do you think they went? Miranda says, I don't know. Maybe they're in the cornfield. Maybe they're in the woods. Maybe somebody took them. And mother-in-law says, well, do you think they could have fell in the lagoon? Nope. They'd be floating by now. This is Thanksgiving dinner. And she very obviously heard that come out of my mouth at some point, and I'm like, yep.
Kid.
Like, what do you say? What do you do? I mean, So that was Thanksgiving conversation.
Do your parents ever wonder, like, why do you live like this?
So my dad has helped me through almost all of it until the last couple of years. The whole western side of the state.
I feel like your dad helped you do chores.
He did. Yep,
okay.
Absolutely. So I would say when I started on the farm, so we're talking 2007, my dad ended up moving in with me about a year later. And he was an electrician, and I needed help on the farm. I was like, hey, you want to come help me? And he moved in, and we've worked fairly side by side up until recently.
Amish land.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. It was never his thing, meaning like he would never had any desire to be more involved in it other than helping me where
He just content being a hired man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was honestly huge blessing because like reliable help sucks. Employees suck. That was a huge turning point of pivoting the last 2 years. I try to go to Canada every June to go fishing. Love it. It's my happy place. So going to a rinky-dink fish camp that is like 100 miles off the grid, and I just love it. Phone doesn't ring there. It can't work. So wife gets a hold of me at fish camp and says, hey, so-and-so didn't show up today. She comes home from work and she can hear the calves bellowing, right? So my wife, who has more than a full-time job, and my dad go out and do the chores that I should have been doing. And I'm like, yep, fuck that. Like, done with it. Like, I am now figuring out a way to go left at the stop sign instead of right. I was over it. I've had some really good employees, a couple really good ones that like they were such a blessing at that time, but I've had some crappy ones too. Till this day, can't wrap my head around just not caring. So fast forward into where I am today, I now rent my home farm out to a young fella that's doing a really good job, and he has a Hispanic guy that helps him full time, and the guy is awesome. All he wants to do is work. Shows up, works every single day, and when he's done, he says, what else can I do? He's feeding 600 calves, and he said, I'd really like to raise some on my own. I have more time. Find an English guy that says that. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of hardworking English guys. But, man, and he does it to better himself and his family. And he doesn't want it to be handed to him. He wants to earn it.
Yep.
And how do you not respect that?
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good human. Takes care of things, cares, gives a shit.
Right.
You know, like might not be perfect, doesn't know everything. Nobody does, you know, but cares and shows up. If you show up, I'll work with you. I can't do a dang thing if you don't show up.
There are so many people out there that are willing to. My uncle just said this to me at Thanksgiving. We were talking about our old dog was playing with my brother's puppy. And my uncle said, you know what? It does the same thing for an old guy when he goes, I have this intern at work and he wants to learn and he wants me to teach him things and he's ambitious. And he says it does the same thing for an old guy. And that just goes to show there are so many older people in especially this industry, but that want to pass along what they know.
For sure.
And it just takes somebody to have the want to.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, put in the sweat equity and the time, you know, because it is such, you know, like Smoke was talking about his cattle buyer. You know, if that cattle buyer had a young man or woman that showed up and sat next to him and said, I want to learn your job.
That guy absolutely would have rather handed his book of business to somebody that wanted it than to walk out and hand it to all the guys that he's been bidding against his entire career.
For sure.
And you know that 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yep, 100%. Yeah, those opportunities, it would be nice to put the people that want those opportunities with the people that have those opportunities. Like, I don't know how to do that, but
yeah. Well, and I feel like that's something that people have been trying to do for years. And it's hard because it comes down to relationships, right?
For
You
sure.
have to like the person too.
For sure.
And want to work with them every
Right.
day and
For
teach
sure.
them. I think that's why it's so much of the ag industry is passed down to family members, because whether you really like them or not, you kind of are stuck with them.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, I think that's why that's been so successful.
Well, and you grow up with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's what you know.
It is. Working in an office, you bring your kid along and they sit in the corner and color.
Right.
I mean, there is just nothing like going to work with a parent that actually gets their hands dirty.
Yeah. Well, and then it's auction day, and it's like, we're going to go have lunch at the sale barn and then go buy a couple calves or feeders or whatever, goats or pigs, whatever we're buying, you know? And it's like, it's the best field trip every single day.
I just feel like you were to a point. Like when you got here tonight, you said, how long do you have left? And I just feel like you were to that point.
I was.
One day you were like, I literally cannot do this anymore.
Yep.
I have got to figure out a pivot point.
Yep.
I need to go left instead of right.
It was super hard to verbalize it. Like for me to say, I am not going to have calves at home. And I'm still not sure if that was like, in some ways, I feel like I was admitting defeat, but that's not true at all, because what I'm doing is bettering myself and my family. But yeah, it was a really tough thing to verbalize and say, I am not going to do this anymore. And that's who I was, or who I am.
Well, yeah, you work your entire adult life towards one goal.
Yep.
And then to one day say, actually, I'm going to change my mind.
Yeah. Like I woke up for chores. I had chores to do, or needed somebody responsible for my chores for nearly 20 years. You know, and to change that was huge. I think every weekend now it's vacation. I mean, it literally is vacation. I mean, I still have to answer my phone. I still work some weekends, but I mean, for the most part, I don't have to wake up Saturday morning, Sunday morning, go out to the barn. I don't have to plan my dinner plans around chores. That's all the things that people that live in the ag world live with every day. Plan my chores around getting my child to or from school. You know, like that is a thing. Hey, I'm going to do chores early enough so that I can get her to school.
Yep.
You know, and then, you know, I can pick her up and then come home, do chores. You know, she can hang out with me in the barn, you know, like those are all conversations that happen every single day. You know, and I love what I do. I love feeding calves. It just, there was a pivot there. And it was like, this is a direction that I wanted to go. And the sales side of things has been a huge blessing. I love it. To be able to travel around and go help these guys on their own farms is awesome. You know, they're the same people that I am. Take that experience and that time, and it's valuable, and be able to help these guys is awesome. To get that phone call, you know, they don't call like we do, but to get that phone call a week later of like, hey, these changes made a huge difference. It's awesome.
That's huge.
It's huge. It's really cool. You know, and like, I don't care whether these are my cattle, the next cattle company guy, some little private deal, you know, some family that's raising 25 for their own, we service them all. Fellow that raises 10, you know, and he's like, this is the best group of calves I've ever had. Heck yeah. Like I'm excited for you that you did it. That worked. You know, in today's world, those 10 calves is a $15,000 endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, it's not a $1,500 endeavor anymore. It's a $15,000 endeavor.
Yeah.
We're talking big, big dollars.
That's
you know?
true.
Yeah, over such a small investment, or what you think is a small investment is not anymore.
Not.
I mean, that is like 10 head is almost a livelihood.
Right. Well, it's half a year's income for some folks. You know, I mean, that's a ton of money. Herd health isn't any better because they're 10 times the price.
Right.
We have the same problems today that we, you know, on $1,000 calves or $1,500 calves that we did on $100.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean,
that has not changed. You're right.
That has not changed. I mean, you look at, you know, in the calf world, you have to deal with some sort of death loss. Nobody likes to talk about it, but there is death loss in the livestock world. And to manage that and to keep that appropriate, I mean, that is huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
When you walk a fine line with over-treating.
But I feel like you guys keep it fairly simple when they come in. I mean, just like a vitamin, this, that, and then
we have
off to the races.
We have our protocol, right? Like, you cannot raise cattle in a X, Y, and Z program, right? It has to bend a little bit. But we absolutely have our X, Y, and Z program. You do this on this day, you do this on this day, you do this on this day. Now, your farm and my farm could be a little different, but we still deal with X, Y, and Z. You know, what's really cool about the job that I do now is on a Wednesday, I might see 20 different farms. And depending on the time of year, we all fight the same problems certain times of years. So I stop at Jonas's and he's like, hey, having respiratory problems, you know, have you heard what's working? Well, I was just at Elvin's and he tells me that Predilex is working. You know, well, hey, maybe you need a bottle of Predilex. You know, like that's a thing. So many guys don't get off the farm. That doesn't matter whether you're English or Amish.
Yeah.
Like, that does not matter. You know, so the couple of us that bum around and we're on these different farms and we figure out what's working, it's like, hey, this is cool. You know, this helps. And, you know, and we have vets that we work with and we all communicate, you know, because it's all for us. It's a phone call away. Like, hey, this is what we're fighting. This is what we got going on.
Yeah.
Hey, what's working? And this could be from, because we have cattle all over the Midwest. So this could be from Wisconsin to Missouri. You know, generally Missouri will see problems before Wisconsin does, just on weather changes and stuff. Yeah. But like that's huge to be able to help these guys and be like, hey, you know, we're seeing some stuff. This is what's working, you know, and you're on it instead of 7 days later going, shoot, what works and what doesn't. You know, that's hugely valuable, especially on $1,500 calves. You know, I mean, every one that you save is like, hey-oh, you know, I mean, that's a, you know, I mean, that's a really, really big thing, you know, and treatment is hard because you can treat, like you said, you can treat something with, you throw the whole gamut at that thing and you work at it and you work at it, you work at it and you work at it. And one day you come out and it's, you no longer have to work at it. And it's like, dang it, you know, whereas like, hey, Aly, this is working. Treat it with that. Hey, we're off and running. We lost a day of gains instead of 14 days. You know, it's like, that's great. You know, that's super cool. But yeah, the livestock world is, it's been a huge joy. Like, it's something that if you would have talked to me my senior year of high school, sophomore year of high school. Yep.
Oh, I'm sure it wasn't even, well, it probably wasn't your mic because were you helping that farmer?
Yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, but it was like, it was just high school jobs. It was just, I need a guy with a strong back, right?
Right.
You know, it's like, hey, we're picking this up and putting it down, you know, or, you know, or we're loading cattle. Hey, I need help at 3:00 when the semis get here. Yeah. Like, that was great. Then you'd show up and you'd make your $40 and it was like, you know, you're a 16-year-old kid, $40 is cool. You know, like, that was great. That was awesome. You know, but I never thought 25 years later, still be doing it, you know.
That is crazy.
Yeah. But it's wild. You know, I mean, you look at guys that are, I feel like sub 60 that are like in it and doing it. There's not, I'm 37. You know, there's not a lot of us. There's not a ton of us.
Well, you say that, and it's the same way in the trucking world. I just had a guy say this to me a couple weeks ago. He's like, once we're gone,
right,
there's nobody. Like, who's the upcoming? And I'm like, well, you clearly haven't drove down the fucking interstate because there's 50% of the names out there on a pot that I don't recognize.
Right.
They're the upcoming.
Right.
Like,
you're probably not wrong.
They are here and we don't even know it.
Well, yeah. I think part of it is
Trust me,
they're doing things differently.
Yeah, for sure.
They're getting in differently, so we don't see them where we're at or at the level we're at either.
Our parents and grandparents said that. You know they did. They're like, there's nobody once we're gone.
Right.
There's always somebody.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what the workforce looks like in 30 years. It'll be really, really interesting.
I don't know what is going to happen because we have gone so far and nobody wants to be inconvenienced and nobody even wants to drive to a job anymore. Everybody wants to work from home.
That's so crazy. Like, a big part, you know, me servicing those barns, be able to get in a truck, and your first stop is 150 miles from home. Your last stop is 300. Do it all. Stop at your 10 to 20 barns, whatever it is I'm doing that day, and I turn around and drive back home. Like, I love it. Like, the driving, I don't give a shit. Like, love it, But, like, I spent 20 years walking across a driveway. I needed to buy a set of tires every 5 years. I buy a set of tires now every 5 months. I put 1,000 miles on my dually, and I put 1,000 miles on my work truck a week. Like, I love it. So it's like, well, is that just me because I love it? Or is the fact that I haven't left in 20 years?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now it's like, I got to go see stuff.
Like,
and see
game
people.
on. Yeah.
My company for 20 years was 1,200 calves. They don't say much. It's like,
Yeah.
So now I got to go, hang out with guys that do the same stuff that I do. And it's like, man, this is cool. But you're not wrong if, like, find a guy that wants to drive and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not home for supper during the week.
Yeah.
Like, just not,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm blessed to have a wife that gets it and understands. That's not always the case, and I get, people that want to be home for dinner every day. God bless them, right? For me, in my life now, I trade missing those suppers for weekends,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's the way I look at it, is like, hey, I can roll into the yard on Friday and grab my girls and go do something.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool.
Yeah. And it's actual quality time. It's not just running kids to activities and a rushed dinner in the car and whatever else most people are probably doing.
Right. Yeah. Like, I think it's great. It's been a huge transition.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
That's a good transition.
Yeah. Like, I love it. I'm here hunting this year, right? Like imagine this, right? This is the first year that I've come here that I am not calling home to make sure chores are done properly. It's awesome. Like, my phone's on the table and it's like, yeah, I don't, it's cool.
Yeah. Somebody calls, it's like, well, it's not. It
not,
could wait till tomorrow if it had to.
It's not, the boiler's broken at the farm or, the well's not running or, all the things. Like, and it is all the things, boiler breaks on Christmas morning. Yeah, well, Christmas morning waits.
Yep.
That is a real thing. That's like talking about the other night when I show up in the middle of the night to unload calves. Like, I don't expect those guys to show up. I'll do that. I lived that life where it's, you wake up at midnight, you can't fall back asleep because you're all jacked up because you just been working a couple hours. Oh, I'm going to go sleep for 2 hours. No, you don't sleep. Like, I'll handle that. You wake up and do your routine. I lived that routine life and I get it, And I think that's been a really big relationship builder with those guys. And they can respect me for doing that. I'll still do it. Like, I show up and those guys have problems. Like, I'm happy to dive in and really happy to do it, honestly, because at the end of the day, I can help them for 2 hours and I can go home. And
it's not my problem. It's not my problem anymore.
I mean that the most polite way, but it's like, yeah, I'll help you through this today. And, like, I'm not dreading waking up for chores to deal with the same shit that I just did.
It's not Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Just
like,
every day something goes wrong.
That's just a grind, and God bless all the people that do it. Because that is like, you're living in the trenches every day. Super interesting transition over the last 2 years here, but it's been cool.
Well, I love that. That's a good example of recognizing that you want a need change and actually doing it. Because I think so many people are just afraid to make the change.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of it.
Yeah, it is.
Afraid.
It's huge, and I think I don't take it for granted. I think it's been a huge blessing. Like, meaning, I believe that certain people at certain times, certain communication, certain conversations have happened that pointed in a direction.
Yeah,
that's the conversation we had tonight. Before this is like, one day a phone is going to ring, you're going to answer that call. And all of a sudden you're going right at the stop sign instead of left. And it's like, well, where does that take me? It takes me down the different road.
Well, and I think people have to realize that, like, you got here because you knew how to work hard and not give up.
Yeah.
Like, just because you changed direction doesn't mean, like, you've worked your way up once, you can do it again.
Yep, 100%.
And that's all that's all anything takes, is a little commitment and hard work.
Yeah, and if you're going to be self-employed and a business owner, like, there's hiccups. Like,
oh, yeah.
And if you don't fail every once in a while, well, then you live a pretty secure life.
Yeah.
And you're probably missing an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, truthfully, you're probably missing an opportunity. If every business endeavor was a rock star, It's just not. But like, you probably missed some opportunities that would have been awesome and you were just too scared to take it.
Oh, 100%.
And that's easy to say, when you're not.
You know what, though? It's okay to be content.
There's nothing wrong with being content. But if you want to go a different direction in life, there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, I'm going to go this way. Like, I'm not saying you always got to push for the new Escalade, but like, if you want to do something different, do it,
There is one thing that every successful business owner has in common, and that is hardship. I mean, something has gone wrong.
Yeah, because you could put 20 business owners in this room and be like, tell me about your shittiest day. And I guarantee you it's going to be a business transaction situation, 3 months, 6 months.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
Mhm.
It was just like, damn it, that sucks. Like,
Mhm.
and it's, oh man, but that's just part of it too.
Yeah.
You know what the shitty part is sometimes is you could ask, tell me your best day. And I could tell you my best day. I won't, because then I'm bragging. Right? Like, and that's such shit. I had a guy tell me when I started doing the feeder pig thing, my first group of that 100 that I made that came out of Iowa, I did okay on. And he said, you should never feel guilty making money. And like, that has always stuck with me. It has always stuck with me. And it's not like, it wasn't a get rich quick plan by any stretch of the imagination, but it was consistent money. And he's like, you should never feel guilty for making money. And it's like, well, there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, there is.
So it's like, you don't run your business not to feed your family. You don't risk your money not to make money. From a business owner, it's hard to be like, tell me about your best day. And be like, hey, I made X number of dollars last week or whatever it was. You're not going to tell me that, because then you're bragging. Think about if you told that to your employee. And you'd be like, well, fuck, Smoke can pay more. Well, actually, Smoke has put his nuts on the table for the last 10 years. He deserves a good day. Right?
So this is like a quick random story, but our desks downstairs, when we ordered those, like we custom ordered them. And I was like, I want my side to be as big as possible. And then the gal that sits across from me, she ordered hers to be as small as possible.
Mind you, she's the one that does the books.
Yeah. Mind you, she's literally the one that pushes all the paper.
Yeah.
Like, she's the one that needs the room.
Yeah.
Right.
And this was not that long ago. She's like not complaining about it. But she's like, I just wish I would have got a bigger desk, but it's not a big deal.
I'll just make do with what I
Yeah,
have.
I'm like, why would you not have ordered the biggest one you could have like I did?
Right.
And she goes, I don't think you understand. You had $0 when we ordered these desks. And she said, I thought to myself, what are you doing? She goes,
She's like, you cannot afford
you
this.
cannot afford new desks. So I don't know. It's like, it started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yep.
Type of story.
Yep.
And I mean, them are fun stories to look back on.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, I'm not even 40 and I'm wore out.
Yeah. Well, that's the grind that you've been on, right?
Right.
But you can appreciate that desk because of it.
I guess.
I saw a meme today that was like, it was a guy cutting wood in the rain. And it said, sometimes your days have to suck to appreciate the good ones.
Oh, amen to that.
And then you can lie to your buddies and tell them how good it was. Because that's the truth. You don't bitch about the shitty days. I mean, like, because nobody wants to hear you whine about
Yeah.
it. So like you talk about the good days. They don't see you when you're sitting on the desk going, shit, is that load of cattle going to make any money?
Mm-hmm.
Should I have done that? Should I have contracted them at X dollars? Whatever the decision is, right?
Hey, babe, what do you think of that pen of calves? I think they look really good. Well, that's a good thing because they are losing a lot of fucking money right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's wild, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, that's the life that, I don't know. Are you going to get away from it?
No.
You're never going to be.
Never.
You're never going to be an employee.
Yep.
Oh, God, you would be a terrible employee.
You know, like I subcontract for the milk replacer and med company, right? So like I'm kind of an employee, but like I'm doing my own thing. You know,
You have some autonomy to do whatever.
right. It's kind of a hustle thing. How much of it do you want to chase? Do you want to retain the customers you have? Do you want to build a bigger customer base? Do you want to head down to Missouri twice a week, twice a month? Never. You know, because so we oversee about 20,000 calves in Wisconsin and about 30,000 total between Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. Well, is there more of a client base in Minnesota? Absolutely. Do I know that? Absolutely. Do I want to live in a hotel 4 days a week? Not really. Like those are all choices, right? But do I have any desire to work 7 to 3 for somebody or even myself? Hell no.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's this goes back to our conversation earlier about just being content and knowing how much you want. I mean, what do you want to sacrifice? Because there's a trade-off.
For sure.
Are you content with being at this level and going home on the weekends?
Yeah,
or
and
do you want to be gone all the time?
And the people that are, like, good for them. Do I want to chase something? Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, so like.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and that's what I think it comes down to is just people are wired different. Like your level of ambition is way different than anyone else's in this room.
Yeah.
We all have a tolerance for what we can handle.
Right.
And the level of stress that Smoke can handle is way higher than what I can handle.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and like there's certain things in my world. For example, opening day of Michigan deer season is November the 15th. Like, I tell you what, there's got to be one hell of a problem in my cattle world for me to miss that day. But like, that's just the way it is. Like, I am not missing that day. People need that. That week prior to that is a holy balls week. And the week after it is like, dang, was it all worth it? But like, it has to be worth it.
You have to find those things that are actually worth it, though, because it is more work to get away for a day or a week or however long it is than it, really makes up for being relaxed or enjoying your time.
Right.
I mean, you really have to find something that is worth it.
Well, and maybe you enjoy that time more because of what you do. So, like, you value that.
All right.
Sum it up for us. What'd you learn?
We should do this more often. Can you phone in?
I can phone in. My buddy that sells with me or that I sell with him, however you want to term it, we always laugh that we should write a book for all our Amish experiences. Like the metal bucket on the chair, waking them up. Like we have so many of those experiences all week that like, man, we got to write these down and talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because like some of that stuff is just gosh darn funny. And it's like, yeah, we gotta talk about that every once in a while,
I mean, I'm sure every dispatcher out there says the same thing. My dad always said we should write a book, and it's like, well, we should.
We can't publish it till somebody dies.
Right.
Your pops was a good story.
He was a good story.
Like, we'd come home from pheasant hunting. We'd be in the garage, hanging out. And he'd come over, or we'd go to the shop, and he'd be sitting in there, and like, man, we'd talk for hours.
He was an easy guy to talk to.
Yeah, he was a good human. Yeah,
Yeah,
really good person.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, glad we did it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Rural Dispatch. I hope you found something valuable to take back to your own operation. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. You can keep up with me between episodes on socials at Barons & Co. or join our email list on our website to get new episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Wednesday. Until next time, keep those wheels turning. We'll talk soon.